welcome to the Well Seasoned Librarian Podcast. This is Season 9, Episode 15. I was very pleased and excited to be able to talk to Yumi Komatsudaira. She is the author of the new book, Japanese Superfoods. One of the reasons why I was really excited to talk to her was I had received a copy of Japanese Superfoods and I was very, very excited and enthused about the book. The book is a combination of many different types of books in one big super book. Firstly, it's a book about health foods from Japanese cuisine. And it has a lot of really great, wonderful information about seaweed and other types of Japanese foods that are good for you and why. And it's very well outlined. So it's really a good health food book. It's also a really excellent book on Japanese cuisine in general. And it has a lot of great information and recipes on how to cook classic Japanese recipes. Thirdly, it's a wonderful gourmet cookbook. The recipes in here are elegant and something you'd get in a very fancy restaurant, but also simple. And lastly, it's just an all-around great book for learning new cooking technique. A lot of great techniques in here, and I really am very excited about having you hear about this book because it's just, it ticks off all my boxes on everything I think a classic, wonderful cookbook should be. I honestly believe that if there's any awards for books this year, this should win it because it's that good. So without further ado, or any more gushing, I'm going to take you to my conversation with Yumi Komatsudaira with her new book, Japanese Superfoods. Here we go.
See, I really want to thank you for the opportunity to invite me to talk.
And thank you for being here. I really so appreciate this, and you did this all in such short notice too. And I really am very grateful. I want to say, I got the cookbook yesterday.
Oh, yesterday?
Yeah. Wow, it is so good. I'm really impressed by it, and I also say, like, as somebody who likes to cook, and I do all the cooking for my family, I'm really very eager. I can't wait to get in and start using some of the recipes, and I can't wait to get in and start cooking with some of this. You've reminded me how much I love seaweed, and I haven't had seaweed in a long time. And I'm thinking I got to go now. I got to make a trek to go to some stores and buy it and start cooking with this cookbook. So you've inspired me. So thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. That's the highest compliment. Thank you.
It's great when you get a new cookbook. I'm sure as somebody who likes to cook, you have this where you open a cookbook and you start looking at it and it's like, oh, wow, I want to do this. So
totally.
It's exciting.
Yes. I'm a cookbook junkie myself too. I love all kinds of different cuisines, and I love to experiment and buy all these different spices that I know I only probably use one time, but I have to have it. You're the same way, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I could tell you love cookbooks by your cookbook because you can tell when you read somebody's cookbook if they love cookbooks or not. And yours is one of the ones where I could tell immediately that you like cookbooks.
Oh my God. But my favorite cookbook section are my mother's little libraries. And every time I go to see my parents, I had to sneak a little bit here and there, all this a front page all destroy, stains everywhere. But he tells a story about how many dishes she's been cooking for us, and what's the tweak that she had been making over the years become one of our signature dishes. And you know what I mean? It's such a heartwarming process of opening up the cookbook and try to recreate your own way. Do you follow
absolutely. No, I understand. I look at, my mother gave me a cookbook that she had when I was young, and I don't really use it much. It's old recipes from the Mad Men era.
Yeah.
The 60s, where women were all in the kitchen cooking and men were at work, blah blah blah. And so it was like that. But I still love it, and I still love to go back and look at the recipes. I don't really use it, but it's so fun, and it brings back lots of memories and nostalgia.
Yeah, definitely. I love it. Yeah, you like the bookstores too, I imagine.
Oh, I've worked in them. I've
Oh
been as
yeah,
an assistant manager in a
yeah.
bookstore.
Uh-huh.
I work in a library, so I love being around books. I love, like, when people come to the library and they want books, they want recommendations. I'm like, oh, I get so excited. And especially when they want cookbook recommendations, I'm like, almost leap over the counter. I'm like, I can't, I'm so excited. I'm like, I will help you.
That's great. By the way, I love your podcast name. It really
Thank
strikes.
you.
Yeah, it's amazing. Nobody has your name,
Yeah,
right?
I wanted something that was really corny and catching and stick in people's heads. So
It is actually, I start talking about to my friend about the name of your podcast because it's just very unique. Yeah.
thank you.
That was,
It's very corny, but
yeah.
I have fun with it, and
Mhm.
I've had so much fun doing it. I feel like this has been one of the best parts of my life, getting to talk to cookbook authors,
Wow.
and chefs and just everybody in the cooking world. It's been such a
Mhm.
fabulous, wonderful gift for me. It's been the best part of my life.
Yeah, and I also check your website, and then you have quite recipe section, like all these dishes you created with the picture.
Thank
That's
you. I'm not very good at
amazing.
it, though. I don't write cookbook recipes. I mean, I don't write recipes too much anymore because I've been
Mhm.
around so many good people that do it so well. It's kind of humbling. So
Oh my
I need to
God.
work at it. I need to work
Oh
at it.
no, no, you're wonderful. That's great. I see your love for cooking and good food, and I'm so honored to talk to you today. Yeah.
Thank you. I've just, ever since I got the email initially, I've been so excited. And
Mhm.
then looking at the cookbook yesterday was so exciting because
Thank you.
I'm like, I want to try this. 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 And it's like, just, it opened up a whole new world. And it's just, I can't wait. And then I also, like, I remember a few years back, I
Mhm.
used to go to a grocery store
Mhm.
that had a lot of items from Japan. And I found some seaweed soup. And I remember I was not feeling very well. I was very sick. And
Mhm.
I drank some of the seaweed. I had some seaweed soup and I drank it. And I remember just almost immediately feeling better. And so
Yeah.
it became like a go-to for me when I was feeling sick or down. And now I think I need to kind of bring that back and go find it again and get some
Mhm.
seaweed to make soup with. Because I think looking at the health benefits that you've wrote about in your book, I'm
Yeah.
thinking this really has to be part of my diet now. I have to change my diet.
Yeah, definitely. You're talking about dashi, I imagine.
Yeah.
Soup.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually one of my most favorite food in the whole wide world. It's just
Yeah.
really nourishing you from inside out, makes you feel so calm and peaceful, but it's really nourishing inside out. It's really beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think there's kind of a renaissance now with seaweed. People are starting to sell it in farmers markets, and stores
Mhm.
are selling it more now. You can find it more easily now than you could when I was young.
Oh, yeah, especially California. I think people have more open-minded, more plant-based driven mindset because seaweed is one of the few plant-based food containing both DHA and EPA. So
Yeah.
omega-3 is very important nutrients for boosting your brain functions and reducing inflammation and also promote healthy gut. So it's if you have access to sea vegetables, it's a wonder food. It's and
Well, yeah,
it's
your cookbook really highlights that. I was reading the list of nutrients and the essential things in seaweed, and I was really shocked because I hadn't realized that there was so much there in seaweed. I
Mhm.
think most people aren't aware of this, in America
Yeah.
at least. And it really is, like you say, a powerhouse.
Hmm. Yeah, I think it's just the name seaweed. I tried to say
Yeah.
vegetables. It's like a land vegetable, but more nutrients because of the ocean goodness, the minerals, the vitamins, and all the goodness. And then also a lot of people don't know about seaweed is that one of the highest protein that you can consume through eating sea vegetables. That's that's like if you don't eat meat or eggs, it's a great source to add it to your diet. And it's
Yeah.
relatively easy to prepare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From what I've seen in your cookbook, it is, and I just, it's such
Mhm.
a kind of no-brainer to be able to kind of make some of that. and just incorporate it in your diet on a daily basis even. I don't think it'd be very hard at all.
Yeah. I was lucky because I grew up in the business.
Right.
Ever since I was born, it's sea vegetable is right there in front of me. So I
Yeah.
didn't really think much, special when it comes to nutritional value and all that. It's just right there in my reach. So I've been snacking since I was little. My mother didn't really give me sugary, candies or chips, but instead, I get the, piece of kombu, for instance. I just, eat like a candy. Or,
Well,
have you ever tried the piece of kombu just to taste?
yeah. When we made broth and stuff, I just tried it and it tasted. I mean,
Mhm.
that's one of the nice things about it. I mean, it is a health food, sure, but it also is very tasty.
Yeah.
I mean, I would even eat it if it wasn't healthy. I'd be like, I could still eat this because it tastes good. It's like a lot of people are starting to put it as a flavor agent in
Mhm.
food now, right?
Yeah, definitely. And then also the taste is really, now people talk about that's what's umami, it's the source of glutamate found in kombu. But also glutamate that we know about is you see mother's breast milk contains glutamate, which
Yeah,
I recently discovered maybe past 15 years. And when I feel like really tired of feeling a little bit lift up my spirit, I always wanted to have a big bowl of soup with a
yeah,
miso paste. It's just the broth that you're talking about. And it's just making me feel so good and so peaceful. I didn't know why. But then I start learning about this all over again, and I discovered that the mother's breast milk contains amount of glutamate found in kombu. So we have been knowing this kind of calm effect through, consuming these things gives same kind of peacefulness when you're baby, So I just thought it was really amazing discovery for me personally,
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
just this book that really highlights so many of the things, and not just in seaweed. There's so many things in your book. I mean, I'm kind of like I have so many questions about the book because it's not just this simple little cookbook. It's a big comprehensive
Yeah.
work. I mean, I want to kind of talk about this because I was impressed by the sheer scope of it. And also, I mean, there's so many things I want to talk about. But first off, I want to ask you, you were born in Tokyo and you came to New York, the United States in 2012. What brought you to America?
So actually, this was the interview with Tuttle of highlighting my book and my
Uh-huh.
work with CV. So that's why I say 2012, I came back for the second time. Actually, I was here beforehand.
Uh-huh.
In my mid-20s, I came here as a student, and I went to SUNY for 2 years. I got my bachelor's degree. And
Okay.
then, yeah, so in 90s and 2000, I was in fashion, working in the fashion industry in New York City. So I didn't do any family business thing my early age.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then I went back to Japan for a few years, and then 2012, I came back for the second time. This time, your question was asking why I'm here.
Yeah.
Time, so that I got the job opportunity going to work for fashion again in New York City, and the job brought me here again, and yeah, so that was the question to the answer.
Okay.
Yeah,
And you grew up like your parents started a seaweed business in the
yeah.
60s, and you
Mhm.
saw that, when you were a child, you saw them operate that. How was
Yeah,
that? What was it like to grow up in a business where seaweed was being produced and that was your family business?
yeah. So my family has been curating sea vegetable product, um, curating all kinds of different sea vegetables from different parts of Japan. And you know, I was born in Tokyo, grew up in Saitama, which is like suburbs of Tokyo. So there was no ocean around it. But
Right.
where the house was right next to the seaweed factory. So I always smell like ocean. I see amounts of sea vegetable getting ready to be packaged. I help a lot as a child to package, to put in the boxes, to seal anything that my parents want. All my sisters, I have two sisters, so all of us were like pitching in to support the business as a young kids. And then, you know, my grandmothers, my uncle, and everybody's basically working in the family business. So it was like a one gigantic, no, it's a really small company, but it's like all family affairs. Everybody cares about seaweed and the good quality. My dad always talk about, you know, providing seaweed to the family, that kind of notion of caring, making sure the good product that you want to share with your family, you want to share with your customer. So I think I have seen a lot of pride in that business, and I don't know, a lot of love growing up with seaweeds.
It sounds wonderful. I mean, it sounds really great. I mean, that sounds like
Yeah,
a wonderful family business to grow up in.
yeah, it's amazing. I got bullied though at school because it was,
Really?
yeah, a very unusual people, especially boys. I got bullied a lot because of the unusual business to be in the area where I grew up. You know, I think if you're living in the ocean side, maybe it's expected to have that kind of business, but
Oh, I see. Yeah.
you know what I
Not
mean?
so much not so
Um,
much in Tokyo.
yeah. So
That's unfortunate. I think people love to look for anything to bully about. It's unfortunate though.
yeah. So yeah, but
I don't know.
overall it's good.
Now, I was reading in your bio. I did a lot of research on you, and
Oh no.
no, it's okay. It's
Oh
good.
my
And it says
God.
you work as a Japanese culinary instructor, an
Yeah.
author, a recipe developer, food stylist, and food photographer. And you also, in addition to all this, you
Oh
run
my
an international division of your family's seaweed company, which
God.
you haven't mentioned is called K-Seaweed. That
Yeah.
is a lot of hats to wear. That must be daunting. How do you manage it all? That's a lot of different kind of jobs.
Oh my God, it sounds a lot, but it's really
Yeah.
not because you know I'm just doing the same thing, almost like connecting the dots. But
Yeah.
everything that I do, it's interconnected with one another. I've been a creative person for a long time, so doing everything around food is absolutely like joy for me to express my passion, and I love to share where I come from through food culture. So it's been a quite journey. I wasn't really planning this way actually when I came back for the second time 2012. You know, I came here to do the fashion thing, but I miss my home food so much. I miss my family sea vegetables. And then I start developing this sense of, I don't know, like a responsibility, what I can do to hone into my experience, my expertise with people who wants to learn more about it. And that's how I slowly shift my career here from fashion to food. I didn't have any connection or work experience in food. So
Case
little
for the
by
second time. I was reading in an interview that you had a suitcase full of seaweed, which I understand. It makes sense to me. But do you want to talk about that a little bit?
oh my God. Yes. So when you travel to another country, right?
Yeah.
It's the best thing sometimes, or all the time for me is to bring the food that I discover at the country. And every time I go to Japan, still it's my native country, but the food is so amazing. Everything I want to bring it back, but there is a regulations, right? So I only brought back something that was not polishable, like a dry kombu. I didn't want to run out of it. So when I pack everything to move here, I put so many different seaweeds, dry sea vegetables in my suitcase, make sure I have go-to ingredients in case of emergency. And then it turns out every day I was craving so much the soup that we're talking about.
Yeah.
And yeah. Oh my God. So it went out quickly. It was gone. So I had to keep calling my sisters, please send me this and they keep sending me. And then I start realizing, what if I'm able to do this full time? What if I get somebody to help me distributing and share my family seaweed to the people here? It wouldn't be nice if kind of kicks in and
Yeah, no, because you started talking to chefs, didn't you, about seaweed and kind of encouraging its usage, and it caught on because of this, right? People started using it and were like, chefs talk to each other. So like if one guy's cooking with seaweed and he's happy about it, he's going to tell another chef, and then everybody's going to know about it, right? Is that what happened?
Yeah, so because I had no clue, I had no connection, the best thing is to go to talk to the chef, right?
Right.
Yeah, so I made an appointment with some of the famous Japanese restaurants here, and all the chefs are all very respectful, very nice. Yeah, very supportive, and they spend time with me talking and how I should go this about. And then they told me that I need a distributor, which I had no clue at the beginning. I'm like, wow, distributor, where are they? But apparently they were helping everything, get the FDA approval, the transportation. I have both frozen sea vegetable and dry sea vegetables, so the warehousing also very important factor of bringing the food here legally, right?
Yeah.
And
Right.
yeah, and store properly so that the quality stays high. And yeah, so by talking little by little, I made a baby step to meet these important people, and eventually one of the distributor signed me to work with me. So that's how everything started.
This episode is sponsored by Culinary Historians of Northern California, a Bay Area educational group dedicated to the study of food, drink, and culture in human history. To learn more about this organization and their work, please visit their website at www.chnorcal.org. I am so excited to talk about your book because I am just, ever since I got your book yesterday and I started opening it, I've been just very excited to talk to you about it because I love the book. I love it, and it is amazing. It is so good. I want to get people listening to this podcast to go out and get it because they're going to love it too. Because it's really, it energizes you. It's not just this simple cookbook with some nice pictures. It's got a lot, and it almost reminds me in some ways of like the DK books in many ways because your photography and illustrations are so good because they really highlight how to do things and they help you get in your mind how to do something you may not have done before. And like so many things, like the making of the dashi, and different things. Like you really show excellent techniques and ways to do it that are really kind of illustrated well.
Thank
And
you
it's just
so
visually, even if you can't read the book, it's just beautiful. If you look at it, it's just a gorgeous book.
much.
And
Thank
I
you.
want to ask you, like, to start off with, let's go over what are Japanese superfoods? What is it? What does the title Japanese superfoods mean?
So, what is superfood? It's a big topic.
Yes.
Everybody has different definition of superfood. Where you come from, you have different type of, food that gives you best benefit. But it has been used to describe food that contains high level of health benefit, boosting immunity, reducing inflammation, and helping restore and maintain gut health, especially where I come from, Japan. We have so many different food that I've been eating growing up that are amazing health benefits. Like for instance, miso, for instance, it provides amazing gut health. It's packed umami. The ingredients are really one of the oldest traditional the grain, the Aspergillus oryzae. It's the fungus, but
Yeah.
it's responsible to produce all kinds of different condiments for Japanese cuisines like soy sauce, miso, vinegar, rice vinegar, sake. In daily basis, I've been eating this kind of amazing food since I was little. And then my mother, pretty much everything she made, everything from home. My father showed me how to make miso when I was little. So without knowing it, I been really enjoy the best benefit as food giving us to stay healthy. So I wanted to show people what are they and how to use it in the modern way, so that even though you're living outside of Japan, you can make those pickles, for instance, using yogurt and store-bought miso to create very similar kind of flavoring pickles that I've been eating growing up for years. So that was the idea of introducing what you can do to use those ingredients and incorporate it in your own kitchen in America or outside of Japan.
Can you talk to us about some of the different types of seaweed that you discuss in your book? Because
Mm-hmm.
many of us are not aware of it too much. I mean, I know that I'm old enough that I remember when kind of seaweed was new to the United States and sushi was new. And
Yeah.
people started seeing sushi, nori wrap on sushis. And then other types of seaweed started being introduced, and now people are starting to become more aware of it. Can you tell us about some of the different types of seaweed that are used traditionally in Japanese cuisine?
Yeah, of course. So the best seaweed that I will recommend you to start trying is kombu. Kombu is this long black, mostly dry form that you see at the market. We have this long one, like about this long, or maybe you can see this little cut pieces. But
Yeah.
depending on the manufacturer, they have different way of packaging. But it's all dry. It's like a stick, and those are used to provide a great savory umami flavor that I talked about before. But um, these are very essential Japanese cuisine that we use in variety of dishes made from kombu dashi. So obviously miso soup, the broth that you make miso soup with is made with those kombu kelp that you soak it in the water and then extract the umami flavor into the broth. And then sometime, if you're vegan, you probably use kombu or shiitake mushroom as a choice of your broth, but commonly used with katsuobushi, skipjack tuna, the bonito flake, mixed with kombu kelp, really accentuates the flavor, the umami of the flavor, about 7 to 8 times more. So you have those rich, aromatic, savory flavor from those simple dry ingredients. And then you have the wakame seaweed. Have you ever heard of wakame seaweed?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So, you know, when you have soup, right? You
Yep.
see this piece of black, almost like a ribbon.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's wakame seaweed. That's a different type of seaweed. It's more like a vegetable. It doesn't create the broth, but it creates the texture. It's almost like a leafy vegetables. I think in America you call sea lettuce.
Yes.
I think it's similar. So we use those seaweed to make like seaweed salads, miso soup filling. Also, summertime, it's popular to eat with tofu as a topping. So there is a recipe in my book that you just take a simple block of tofu and then put seaweed on top, the wakame seaweed, and drizzle homemade sesame dressing. It's really beautiful, easy, authentic dish that you can make at home. Yeah. And then there is another seaweed called hijiki. So hijiki comes in 2 different types. One is the mehijiki, me means eyes, but also means butt. So it's like a tiny little, I don't know if you have seen it, but it's like a rice.
Yeah.
Tiny little, pieces. That's mehijiki. And then you have naga hijiki. Naga means long. So it's like a stem hijiki. This one is popular for bento box filling, side dishes for bento, because it's easy to hold with your chopsticks like a noodles.
Yeah.
So that's another popular sea vegetable that we've been eating.
I want to interrupt you for a minute and mention to the listeners that when they get the cookbook, all this has beautiful illustrations in it that are so well done, because many people write cookbooks and they'll just mention the names. They'll say, oh, buy this or use this. But you really put, almost like the DK books produced in Switzerland, the ones that have all the illustrations, beautiful, beautiful, multiple pictures of the seaweed in different productions. So you could really see it. So when you go to the store and you're reading this book, you'll know by sight which is which, not just by name, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you so much. By the way, this was my first photography book.
I can't believe that. That's impossible. It's so good.
Kathy, my initial editor, she really encouraged me to do the photography too and the styling. I never think I could do this. It's really amazing. And then
it's such good photography. It really is.
And Tuttle did an amazing job, really,
yeah,
making the picture come to life. I have to thank them. Yeah.
Well, they're a good publisher anyway. They produce good cookbooks. I mean, all their stuff is really good, and they really seem to love cookbooks. So you could tell.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.
I wanted it because I really am excited about that aspect of the book, is that the photography really highlights the ingredients, not just the food that's being prepared, but when you talk about each ingredient, you really show everything. And it really is just wonderful to be able to kind of have that visual identification. So when you go to the store, you can say, oh, I want that.
Yeah, I'm a very visual person, more than anything. So, it's very important that I had the good visual presentation so that people can relate, because for a lot of people, Japanese cuisines are very intimidating. It's a restaurant food. It's totally out of our reach, and I wanted to tell you it's not.
No, and the thing is, like, the photography makes it look like something you'd get in a beautiful restaurant, like a fancy, elegant restaurant. But also it makes it seem like it's also not impossible to prepare. Like if you apply the techniques in the book, which are simply written, so that anybody could kind of, if you follow the directions, you should be able to do this. But then you look at the photography makes it look so elegant and beautiful. So it looks like something you get in a fancy high-class restaurant. So
Oh my
it's
God.
just a little bit all over the place here because it's just like, it's got all this good information, but that the food photography is so good. I hope you win awards for it in the coming year because it
Oh
really is
my
well
God,
done.
that's the big word thing, but I appreciate um your positive feedback because it means a
Thank
lot.
you.
Yeah, thank
No,
you.
I don't think I'll be the only one. I don't think I'm alone here. I think you're going to hear this from a lot of other people.
Oh, thank you. I don't know what to say. Oh my
Well, I
God.
want to talk about the chapter on quick pickles too, because I was really taken with it,
Yeah.
and it makes it seem so much easier because I was really daunted by the idea of making Japanese pickles, and you make it seem so easy. Can you talk a little bit about the importance of pickles in like the Japanese dinner time or the kind of daily eating?
Yeah, definitely. So the pickle, my love with pickles started when I was younger. You know, so waking up in the morning, I have this internal clock where I start smelling um, amazing dashi all over my bedroom. That's how my morning starts. And then I start hearing my father shaving bonito, the katsuobushi in the shaver, you know, the box
Yeah,
that you also picture
yeah,
in the book. I was hearing it like slow shaving. And then I start hearing cut, cut, cut on the cutting board. My mother obviously cutting pickles. She pickles everything. And then especially my favorite time of pickling was summertime when the vegetables are so flourish and all the freshness of homegrown vegetables, like, you know, everything she pickle basically. And then a little morning, we just had the rice and then the miso soup and the pickles. So those are my morning um, feast, you know. And then because I grew up eating pickles all the time from my lunch, not so much lunch because I had the school lunch,
right.
but breakfast I had the pickles, and then nighttime I had the pickles. So now when I make dinner or breakfast, I have to have the pickles always. You know, it's an essential part, especially when you harvest something a large amount during spring and summer. You know, you don't want to waste anything. You make pickles and then you enjoy during the harsh winter time when you have less vegetable available, you know. And one of my favorite pickle is the nukazuke pickles. Have you ever heard of nukazuke? It's
I,
made with rice bran. It's kind
yes,
of,
yes, 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 yes. Yeah, I remember because I was reading about it in the book last night. Yes.
yeah, so that was absolutely my favorite growing up because my grandmother always made nukazuke pickles at home. But what happened is that it's like you have to babysit. It's
Yeah.
what once or twice a day you have to keep mixing. So
Yeah.
when we went to travel to you know, some other places away from home, my mother always asked her sisters to mix it, or, you know, it was like too much work. So so right now I wanted to create the same kind of flavor, but less work or no work. So I asked my mother, and then she told me to combine those two fermented food that you might already have in your fridge, which was miso and yogurt. And then I started making it, and then absolutely I fell in love. And then you can also use the juice, the sauce, to make soup afterwards, or you can even use the sauce to flavor your stir fry. So it's like a multi-purpose goodness that you can you can create from pickling to the sauces in the one recipe. So this one, the quick miso yogurt pickles. It's a great recipe to try if you never try Japanese pickle in your life.
Yeah, I think for me, I was always daunted by the idea, but you actually make it seem possible, which is wonderful. And it's something I do want to try because you make it actually seem like something I could do. And I think in a lot of this, with like just simple tofu, for instance, I think for a lot of people, tofu is a mystery because if you don't really grow up with it, you don't know how to really use it. And I've experienced myself cooking tofu badly, and so many people in America cooking tofu badly, and people are often put off by it because they usually serve tofu that's not well made. And your book really highlights it kind of as a special thing and makes it seem very easy to utilize in many different ways. And I just love that. To me, it seems like this book is a book about many things. It is a book about healthy eating and getting knowledge about things like seaweed and other products from Japan that are healthy. And it also seems about technique because there's a lot of really good illustrations on how to do things, which I never would have gotten from another book. Another book may have talked about it, but you really have a breakdown on it where you can see it visually. And then another issue is an introduction to Japanese cuisine where it shows you things and how beautiful they can be and gives you an access to it. So what were you thinking when you designed, like when you first thought of the cookbook, what was your initial thought and how did that change? Did it change over time or what kind of went into making the book and how did you pitch it to the publisher?
Oh my God, that's a big topic.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Oh no. So I don't know where to start, but my journey with this project started way before I signed the deal with Tuttle Publishing. Yeah, someone actually initially reached out to me through social media. Somebody, this publisher in UK, reached out to me because they saw my social media pictures, and they were asking if I were interested in producing anything with sea vegetables. Long story short, I didn't get the deal. They thought that the sea vegetable were the topic of sea vegetable was too niche at the time. This was before pandemic, when people stay away from home cooking so much. You know what I mean? The convenience of eating out and take a more highlighted than what we're facing right now, which is to, cook your own meal, how to stay healthy, how to take care of your gut health, So when I didn't get a deal, I'm telling you because it's a really amazing story. And if you listen to our conversation, maybe you feel a little bit like energy from me that you can do anything. But so when I say no to publishing my book, I got so discouraged and I was so sad. I was in Japan visiting my family. And then I decided that I drive to nearby mall and just taking my mind off from the subject. But I was really devastated. And I was drawn to this bookstore. This one section was like seriously beaming in this one area from the sky. It was like really bright.
Yeah.
And I was like, I didn't know what, but I was drawn into this area. I just walked over there. And you have to believe me when I say I never seen the English written book in my neighborhood, but that day there was the book that the editor produced. That was her book, and you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I start crying. I had the overwhelming appreciation for the opportunity to even submit my idea, because if I don't give up, somewhere in the world, other side of the world, people might be able to pick up my book and start cooking Japanese food at home. You know what I mean? Just like I was experiencing this book, that I'm living other side of the world, but get to really touch the book and read about it. Of course, I purchased the book and I texted to the editor. I found this book out of nowhere and I thank for the opportunity. So from that point, I really focusing on finding a right publisher so that I was able to do this. And then a year later, I have a pleasure meeting with Tuttle, and then I submit my ideas and few communication back and forth. So it was started with sea vegetable cookbook, but then it evolved into all category of Japanese food. So that's how the book kind of evolved and changed and reformed to what is today the superfood, Japanese superfood. Oh,
It's an immense book because there's so much good photography in it, and there's so many good recipes. But there's a lot of writing. Like it's not an overly wordy book. Everything is like there's economy to the writing, so that you get instructions that are clear and concise. But there's a lot of it, and it's comprehensive. It's really like, I'm not saying this to deter anybody. I think this should encourage you because there's a lot of really good instruction and a lot of good information. Was this like, how long did it take you to write this book? Like, because I imagine just the editing and the writing process must have been pretty comprehensive.
Oh my God, yes. So this was before pandemic, I signed the deal. And then I think it's like 6 months after everything happened, what is now, and the lockdown and everything. So during the pandemic, I have all this time to work on it because everything was delayed, and the ingredients were hard to get, and you can shop certain ingredients. You know what I mean? So it forced me to really look at this this recipes that I was working on into different eyes. Almost like, what if I can't get the certain ingredients? What American people can substitute? Or
Right.
no, and also my teaching. It got me think how I can illuminate certain process and how I can make it simpler, because I do teach kids how to cook Japanese food. So those teaching, going back to our original conversation, everything really helps each other. You know what I mean? To write the recipe, to take photos, how to make it easier, simpler, all related to this one level of food that I have, that are supporting each other's role.
Did your work in fashion, did that influence your food photography in the book at all?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yes, I would say so. I travel a lot for my job, and colors and the composition of the placement, everything really, help what I had the background in fashion. And you never know this thing, right? Until you start doing it, and then you realize, because I have done this before in this form, that I'm familiar with this way, or you know what I mean? It's when you have the connection, it's so amazing.
Yeah, because so oftentimes people, it's a lot of work just to write a cookbook, but you did both. You did the photography and the writing. So that must have like added a considerable amount of back and forth between the publisher and you. That must have been quite a long time.
Mm-hmm. Also, I have an amazing friend, author friend, Sonia Grobman. She was gracious enough to help me how to be a better writer. She has an amazing cookbook. She does German Jewish cookbook, and amazing writer. She also helped me a great deal how to construct great recipes. So I have to thank her. I recently have a event with her, but I've been so lucky, fortunate to have all these people who are very supportive and forgive me great support and insight as to how I can become better author. Yeah. So
I'm trying to think of where to start in this cookbook. I want, of course, want to start with pickles, but if you were to recommend to me a dish from the cookbook, do you have anything that you want to recommend to start with?
yeah, definitely. Without hesitation, I would say let's start making dashi.
Okay,
That's
that sounds
because
good because I'll be using it.
yeah, just because it's a foundation of Japanese cuisine. It's not only you make soup with it, but also you can simmer the vegetable. You can make a dressing. It's
Oh, the dressing recipe looked really beautiful. I want to try that
yeah.
too. That looked really good.
Oh my God, yeah, please, because it's a really amazing. I shouldn't say that probably, but I just love
No, it's true. No, it is. It is. It looks really good. It looks really tasty. I mean, so much of it, I was like, oh. Like
oh,
you made me actually want to try sushi, which I've never wanted to do before because it looks so hard. But you make it look possible. And like I want to try like onigiri, you make it look possible. And so much in there, including like you even where it managed to provide a really good dessert chapter, which I was surprised by, and that was really good. And I was very
oh,
impressed by the whole thing.
oh yeah, I even use my dashi in one of the matcha cheesecake recipe. I
Yeah.
actually on the weekend I work at Enoteca Maria. I don't know if you have heard of it. There is an amazing restaurant in Staten Island where
Uh-huh.
grandmother comes and cook their cultural food to share their heritage. So I am actually Japanese nonna there. So I
Oh,
so I don't have a grandkids yet, but you have to be above 50. And then yeah, so I share my a lot of my recipes from the book, and matcha cheesecake is one of their most popular dishes. So
no, all just really just solid, good dessert recipes in there as well. And just among everything else, it's just I'm still like kind of I'm going to be reading it all week, so it's going to be like a
oh,
lot.
okay.
I'm like setting up my shopping list for the next few weeks too.
Oh, nice. Let me know if you have any questions.
Oh, I will. I will. And also, I want to ask you, as I'm just, who are some of the cookbook writers that you like to follow?
Oh,
Do you mind?
yeah, actually, I am the biggest fan of Deborah Samuel. She's actually my mentor, and she's amazing cookbook author. And I personally try her recipe through my work because she developed the program for this nonprofit Table for Two, the wonderful organization. And I truly enjoy her recipes and then her cookbooks. So yeah, if you have heard of it, heard of her name, yeah, you should check it out. And then also Sonia's cookbook is also amazing. She's an amazing writer, but also her recipes are very easy to follow. Um, so those are the cookbook author I personally like and try making from the book. Yeah, I'm actually planning to make her Sonia's potato salad recipe from her grandfather. I like the recipe that has story like that, because
Yeah,
it's
me
really,
too.
you know what I mean? Why
Oh,
why
yeah.
did you try to make it? Because there is story behind it. It makes so personal, and yeah, I like that definitely.
Yumi, I want to thank you for being on the podcast. I've really enjoyed getting a chance to talk to you. Thank you for
Yeah,
being here today.
thank you so much.
All right. That was my conversation with Yumi Komatsudaira about her new book, Japanese Superfoods. We have links in the bio to purchase this book. If you at all are interested in Japanese cuisine, having a healthier diet, or just plain learning new cooking techniques, check this book out. You're going to want it. It's no hype. It's the real deal. Go out and get a copy of this now at all better bookstores. On Monday, we're going to have my conversation with Maggie Xu about last year's breakthrough book, Chinese Homestyle. She also has the Omnivore's Cookbook website. It's just a wonderful cookbook, and I highly recommend it. You're going to love my conversation with Maggie. That'll be on Monday. I hope you're all having a wonderful year so far and are able to cook a lot of wonderful things from one of the cookbooks you've heard about on this program. Until Monday, keep on cooking.
When you need mealtime inspiration, it's worth shopping Kroger, where you'll find over 30,000 mouth-watering choices that excite your inner foodie. And no matter what tasty choice you make, you'll enjoy our everyday low prices, plus extra ways to save, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week. You can also save up to $1 off per gallon at the pump with fuel points. More savings and more inspiring flavors make shopping Kroger worth it every time. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.